Hey everyone, and welcome back to Small Engine Edge. Today we're going to go over comebacks, callbacks, rework, whatever you'd like to call it, really plagues us as small engine repair people. Sometimes you get those people that'll call back and, oh, you didn't do XYZ, you didn't, whatever the case may be, but is it really your fault? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you that, and it's more than that, that it's not going to be something that you caused directly or indirectly. It's a customer or whoever they're letting you use a piece of equipment, not knowing how to operate it, putting in bad gas, or doing many other things that can cause this. I'm going to go over the ways to prevent those things from happening best and how to make sure that you're relaying to the customer what you're doing and different ways to keep those callbacks from happening. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as we go along if you enjoy the content. So if you've ever had some customer take their piece of equipment back, pick it up, or you dropped it off and call back and say, hey, it's not working right, even though you know you did a great job on it, you fully tested it out, everything went through, everything worked great, you know how frustrating that can be. When we get those types of things, it really just bothers me because it makes you originally, if you're on the phone with them or if it's not right in front of you, feel like you did something wrong or you could have prevented something else from happening. And this frustration for this customer, you could have stopped that. But the thing is, until you have that piece of equipment in front of you, you don't know what the actual cause of it is. So the first thing I like to do if somebody's on the phone, apologize. Hey, sorry you're having issues. Not sure exactly what's going on. Bring it in or we can pick it back up and we'll figure out what's going on. That apology straight off top, whether it's your fault or not, is something that really seems to calm people down. You're taking accountability for there being a problem. And that's whether that it's your problem or not. It may be something that you didn't even do, but as soon as you get it back, then you can address the actual cause of that issue with the customer. So they bring it back and it's an issue with bad gas or somebody hit something or they're just not using it right, don't know how to work it. We get those things every now and again, and they are frustrating for both the customer and for you. But some people just get older and forget how to use their equipment. You see that all the time, but apologize, get the equipment back one way or the other and figure out exactly what's going on to it so you can move forward. If it is an actual issue with a piece of equipment, if it's something that you could have prevented or you could have done better, cover that for the customer. That's going to make them extremely happy with your work. And it's something that's just right to do. You shouldn't try to get additional funds out of that. If it's something that you were supposed to do or you missed or something to that effect. Now, that doesn't mean if you did a tune-up and you sent it out and next thing you know, the axle breaks, that's your fault. Now, if it was something that you could have checked out and you realize that it's been real worn for a while and you didn't check the front end enough or whatever the case is, you may be able to cover some labor or something on that, but do not just bend over backwards because something else on a piece of machinery broke. There's 2,000 pieces of parts on different pieces of equipment, and no matter if you spend 4 hours or whatever the case is, if you're tuning that up, that doesn't mean that you're always going to notice all these things. Go over things thoroughly check them out, but sometimes things are going to be missed. That doesn't mean that because it wasn't noticed then, if it's something obscure, that you should cover that free of charge though. And you've got to be really particular with these customers and really relay any issues you find or anything that may be a issue down the road. That way customers know. That way you can notate in your work, hey, we recommended this, customer declined, and that's going to cover you on the back end. Otherwise, if you send it back, well, hey, why wasn't I notified that these spindles were bad? Well, all you said was sharpen the blades. All you said was change the oil. They still expect the full engine to be rebuilt if you aired up a tire for them. That's just customer expectations. They're going to expect the most out of you for the littlest amount of money. Be upfront about what you're telling those customers about what's actually going on, and that's going to keep you from having these callbacks and frustrations with customers that you're going to have to deal with all the time. Once we started fully investigating everything and giving a customer a complete picture of their equipment, regardless of what they had in to do, sometimes people will get mad that you're giving them an estimate for something they didn't bring it in for, but that's very rare. Regardless, they're going to be happy when they get it back, knowing if something else happens that you've already estimated that for them. And it's very rare for anything else to happen. If you send something back and you know it's all good and it comes back and, hey, you've got a bent blade. Well, I've got that several times where we've just put new blades on it. It comes back with a bent blade. Somebody's mad that it's making noise. Well, somebody hit something with it. Well, we didn't hit anything. Who was using it? Was it you that was using it? Or are you wearing headphones as you're mowing? Or it looks like you hit a fire hydrant, right? It's something that you've got to relay, and without being confrontational about what's actually going on. Some people just don't know. They have their grandson use it, or the husband cuts and the wife's the one calling and she's the one upset about it. Regardless, be kind to these people and don't just fly off the handle because they're trying to accuse you of something being your fault with a piece of equipment. People expect to get what they pay for, and sometimes things get frustrating, especially when you're out trying to cut the yard. You've only got a day or two during the weekend. You've got to put yourself in those other people's shoes, that sometimes you're not going to get the best reaction out of them if something's not going right. That doesn't mean it's your fault. That doesn't mean you have to cover it free of charge, but try to understand that those people are frustrated for a reason too. They take it out on you. Yes, I'm not saying customers should treat you bad, and depending on where it goes, put a stop to that real quick. But try to understand that those customers do have a point of view also, and be as kind as you can to those people. Treat them with respect, and they will treat you with your respect 99 times out of 100. You're still going to get that one out there that's going to fly off the handle no matter what. If you put your warranty policy in writing, we have a full warranty policy that states everything we cover, everything we don't cover, and it sets that expectation of exactly what they can expect from your repairs. If they get their piece of equipment back, you just went through the whole fuel system, got it running again, they're calling back, hey, this thing's running like crap. I don't know what's going on with it. Hey, sorry about that. They bring it back in. The first thing you do is test that fuel. I had a viewer comment this exact same thing the other day. If the first thing you do is check the fuel and it's got water in it, you already know somebody picked up that old can of gas out of the garage and they put bad gas in it again. There's a reason on every single one of our invoices on the front page in red, it says use of bad fuel is not covered by warranty. Please use only ethanol-free treated fuel for best results. Then when they call back and you notice there's water in that fuel, it's not your fuel, whatever the case, hey, unfortunately, this isn't something that we're going to cover. Somebody put bad fuel in it. I will cover it every now and again for a homeowner, just draining the bowl if that's all it takes, especially if we've never talked to them about it before. They're a first-year customer, because that builds that customer being loyal to you. They're going to keep bringing it back because you save them those few dollars from a mistake that they made. People are happy with that, and that builds that loyalty up. That's why we do that. We try to give one freebie every now and again, and again, that depends on customer attitude too. If they're calling just completely cussing you out that their mower's not working right, I'm not going to do that for free. I'm going to charge them money for doing that. It's not my responsibility that somebody else put bad gas in it, especially if you're not being respectful. So take those things for what they're worth, but make those expectations clear of what you're covering, what the state of the piece of equipment is, and what all you're doing. Put that on your invoice. List all of the things you've done. So if they bring it back or say, hey, this wasn't done, well, that wasn't something that was included in the invoice. That wasn't something that was supposed to be done, and that's not something that was estimated as being bad. If you wanted that done, should have told me, hey, go ahead and do that. Sometimes belts are a very good example of that, because if you look at a belt, many times they will have cracks and stuff and dry rotting, but sometimes they just get brittle. I'll normally tell the customer, hey, it looks like it's getting brittle. It'll probably last you another year or two, but it's really hard to tell with belts sometimes. Depending on how long they're mowing, that brittle belt may only last a couple mows. It's really hard telling on some of the equipment, especially with normal wear items, with idler pulleys and belts and bearings. I mean, it's very hard to tell exactly how long that's going to last. If I spin something and it's making some noise, I'm going to notate that, because when that bearing locks up, if they decline it, that's not something that I'm going to cover. That's not something that I am going to say, hey, that was my fault, I missed that. But if I send something out and everything's perfect and it is something that's my fault or our fault, we're going to cover that free of charge, no problem. We're going to apologize regardless of it's our fault to begin with, but keep those things in mind, that customers do sometimes not even know how to use the equipment. They're having other people use it, and they may or may not know what's been done to the piece of equipment. So you've almost got to play investigator to figure out exactly what's happened to that piece of equipment and whether it was your fault or not. Is it your fault that the bearings went out on the deck after a month? Probably not. Something was probably hit. If you put new blades on, look for nicks and big chunks out of that blade, because they're probably there. If you didn't hear any noise from it, they shouldn't have went out that quick. It's usually impact rated or impact related. Same thing with bad fuel. If you just went through the fuel system, flushed everything out, you've got brand new fuel in it, and it comes back with water in it, you know that that's not something that is your fault. If the fuel still is good, and it's not the fuel system that you worked on, and it comes back and it's got an issue with a bent push rod or a blown head gasket, or one of the ignition coils is bad or something like that, you've got to explain that to the customer. No, we went through the whole fuel system. You got it back. Hey, it ran great for a couple mows. Then your ignition coil went bad. Hey, sorry, it was running great when I sent it out. I apologize as this happened right after we brought it back, but that's not something that's covered under warranty, because it's not something we did. It's not something that was presenting as bad when it was here. If I just threw parts at everything I thought may go bad down the road, then you'd be spending 3 times the amount of money every single time you brought something here. Hopefully this helps somebody out on how to take care of those issues with customers, how to handle them, and going forward, how to prevent those from happening. If you set those expectations real good and you make sure that they know exactly what you're doing, and if there is an issue, apologize, get it back here, and figure out exactly what's going on with it. That's going to keep your customer satisfaction very high. It's going to keep your referral rate high, your loyalty from your customers, and you're going to make a lot more money if you keep those customers happy. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching.